Joining me today is Jagriti Bhatia, travel and lifestyle creator. Jagriti, thanks so much for taking the time and for speaking to me on this show. What have you chosen to speak about today?
First of all, thank you. I'm glad I'm here talking about one of my favorite travel destinations, which is Kazakhstan. I backpacked all across Kazakhstan and a few other countries nearby. And so today we'll be talking about Kazakhstan.
Fantastic. It sounds amazing. And I know that it's a lot more than just a couple of those movies that have given you maybe a very wrong perspective on Kazakhstan. So why Kazakhstan and what stands out? How do you get there?
So before I was visiting Kazakhstan, everybody around me also had that kind of perception, like they had no idea what is the safety in the place like, and how would the place actually end up being. But to my surprise, it was one of my favorite. It came out to be one of my favorite destinations. Reason being, in like a very small part of Kazakhstan, the different landscapes that you can experience is amazing, and without giving a hole in your pocket. So that was one reason that I really loved Kazakhstan. So you can explore from canyons to beautiful lakes to cities that look like Europe, which was very surprising. And I had this perception that it might not be that safe, but it's extremely safe to just travel there. And I was there for a part of it. I was backpacking solo, so it was completely safe.
Okay, so we'll talk about some of those aspects, but first, Jagriti, let's talk about how you should get there. What are the flights from India like, and what are the visa requirements?
So starting from the visa requirements, it's a visa free. So you can literally just wake up and plan your trip anytime to Almaty, Kazakhstan. And talking about the flights, so you have direct flights from Delhi. It's a 3.5-hour flight, not that away from India. Though they do not have they do not have direct flights operating from any other part of India. So you have to fly down to Delhi and then another direct flight to Almaty. So that's how you reach there. And then a 7 to 8 days trip would be a good trip to Kazakhstan.
Okay, 7 to 8 days is what you would budget for. Are the tickets pocket friendly, Jagriti, the direct flight from New Delhi?
Yeah, so at the time that I traveled, it was way more budget friendly. But then the destination picked up its popularity, and now it is costed at anywhere between 30 to 35,000. But if you book it way before, you can also get your round trip at 25,000. So that's for me is a good deal.
That sounds good. What about the currency? And would you suggest converting here and then going there, or use a travel card or something like that?
So, since there's a lot of raw travel there, in a part of the city, the cards would work. But I always suggest to carry a good currency like a USD or a stronger currency that can easily be converted. Somehow, in my travel experience, Indian currency is not that easily aware. Like you can't convert Indian currency in a lot of countries. So, what I do most of the time is that I carry USD, because that's the rate. You get good rates on USD. And that's the best you can do.
Got it. Okay, so that's practical advice. Jagriti, 7 to 8 days is a good time frame, but when in the year is the best time to travel? And what are the various places that you should visit? You've talked about landing in one particular place. How would you chart the course then?
So Kazakhstan is a landlocked country, so there's not a lot that you can explore in the entire, like you can't be going around the country, but there's just one region which is called Almaty, where you will be landing, and then you will be exploring places in and around Almaty. That being said, there are a lot of places still that you can cover. So starting from the city, the Almaty city where you will be landing, you can go to a ski resort. It's called Shimbulak Ski Resort. Then you can head to Big Almaty Lake, which is very beautiful. A lot of people skip it for some reason, but it is something that I highly suggest that you should do. It's a slightly hectic trek, but it's really beautiful. And I think that was one of the highlights for me on the entire trip, trekking to Big Almaty Lake. Then I traveled, and like best time of travel is the fall season. The entire area is so beautifully covered with yellow and orange colored trees. It's very beautiful during that time. But if you're also somebody who would love to have like a proper ski experience, Almaty also experiences a lot of snowfall. So you can also consider November if snowfall is something that attracts you. But for me, I think August, September, the fall season is the best time to visit. And then beyond the Almaty city, you also do what it's called a golden triangle of Kazakhstan, where you cover 3 to 4 places from canyons to Candy Lake. Then there is called Sai Lake, and there are a few national parks. That entire thing can be done either you can drive, which is a very good option, which I didn't opted for. But if you are traveling solo, then you can opt for group trips, which is very very easy on the pocket, and you can opt for that, or you can drive through that circuit as well.
Fantastic. Okay. So Jagriti, give me also a sense of the stay there. And this is one location in the world, of course, where the Indian rupee is considerably stronger. So you're talking about the Kazakhstani tenge, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Which is about 5.7 tenge for every 1 rupee. So it's kind of like the conversion that you would get, if I'm not mistaken, in Sri Lanka, right? To give people a sense of, or maybe a little weaker than the Sri Lankan rupaya. But having said that, what is the cost of stay? Is it also very pocket friendly? And where would you stay? Are there hotels, or would you have more like a homestay experience there?
So again, like your trip would be divided in 2 parts. One is where you are close to the city area, and second where you're traveling to a slightly remote areas, which would be the Golden Triangle when you'll be covering. That is slightly remote. So when you are in the main city, you get hostels, you get hotels, and your hostel starts from 1,500 rupees for a bed that I opted for since I was backpacking for a very long duration. And if you want to go for a hotel, it starts from 3,000, and there are luxury hotels. So you get it's pretty similar to how you get hotels in India and hostels in India. So it's pretty same, and everything is very well maintained. People are very friendly. So in that sense, you can find all of that in good budget.
Okay. And what about the people? So talk about the people, the interactions that you would have. Is language a barrier? Can people understand you?
So yes, language is a big barrier, and we faced a lot of it. So we had the Google Translate on all the time. Half of the time we were not even speaking. Half of the time we were just like enacting ourselves because people could not understand. Maybe in city people would understand a little bit of English here and there, but when you go in the cabs, the drivers, they would not understand that. So that's one issue, but I think you can easily move around it through Google Translate.
Okay, so that's an option, and artificial intelligence to the rescue, right? But, but the last question, which has to do with food, which is a very important aspect, right? So is it, what is the culinary experience like, and is it friendly to vegetarians?
So no, it's not. It's not a country that's friendly for vegetarians. Me personally, being a vegetarian, I had a little bit of hard time there. So in the city, you would end up finding, restaurants. You will also find Indian restaurants in the main city. But once you move out of the city, like for example, if you're going for your trek, or once you have left the city and you're going for your Golden Triangle, right there, you will not find anything vegetarian. Like not even a single thing that is vegetarian. So I did my research. I packed a lot of the poha packets and upma packets with me, and that kind of came in my rescue during that time. So if you're a vegetarian traveling there, even if you're a non-vegetarian traveling there, so a friend who was accompanying me was a non-vegetarian, but somehow she could not also eat the meat that they had, because a lot of places don't have like what Indian consumes, like a chicken or a mutton. They have horse meat. That is their national food as well. So in remote areas, you won't even find that. So whether you're a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian, I would highly suggest you to take your food packets with you for at least 3-day stock, you should have that.
Yeah, and instant noodles sounds like something that you can do, right? With a great view. But Jagriti, you've painted a beautiful picture, and we've seen some of the visuals that you've shared as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure having you, and look forward to the next chat.
Okay, this was great sharing my experience with you.
My pleasure. All right, now that brings us to the end of this edition of Your Money Matters. Thanks so much for tuning in. Do stay tuned. This is NDTV Profit.